What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love, with a live video. What's going on, gentlemen? Today, we are here to talk about the Blitzmas soft mod by Team Encoder. What's going on, everybody? What up, D-Mod, man? Yes, I'm glad you got word and can answer any questions because it's only limited information I know. And I jokingly say, and I'll always say this because I'm a techie. Sometimes techies don't know how to talk to regular people, so that's especially for a mystery encoder. But do your best to try to answer questions when we get to that point. What's going on, Chosen One? What up, Doe? Let's see who's out here. Terry. What's going on, Terry? Good afternoon. Eric's in the house. What's going on? Yes, this is a great mod. These guys do a great, they do a great job. And we'll touch on some of the other projects that they have. So maybe you have some of the other cabinets that you can take advantage of. So let's get started with this here. So thanks to Team Encoder, we have this great mod, just some resources for you to be able to find them. They have a website, team-encoder.com, and /Blitzmas is the one specifically for the topic of today. But you want to check out their Discord channel because that's where all the techie stuff, that's where you can get questions to find out. Keep a pulse on the project and where it's and what's the progress of it. Because it's a ongoing project that changes by the second, literally. So if you go out there and check out their chats out there, Discord is one of those sites that I'm not a big fan of, but a lot of folk use it, so you kind of forced to have to do it. Yeah, and so most people are going to have the same thing, Chosen One, how to add them. And I'm not the best person to talk about how to add those. I can show you a way to add some, but it's a tricky thing that you have to have a certain certain skill set to make the games available to be added and added properly and all those things. But if people make the right games available, it's a very simple process to add those games that they've made available. Yeah, so D-Mod is in the chat, guys. D-Mod is in the chat. He is the lead encoder, right? Because they're a team encoder. He's the lead guy that's on this particular project. He's been so he's going to be here to ask a question. So make sure you ask your questions. We're going to get to those, but we just want to do just an overview thing. And so just as I'm talking, add your questions and he'll get to those. Okay. So don't you worry. And then I have an unofficial tutorial that I did because I know you can go to the website and just read through the steps and do it yourself. But sometimes people just like to be able to see it done for them to feel comfortable to take that step. And so I made this video, just a real quick video to do so. I think it's like maybe 17 minutes. And I talk about all the things involved. And then I talk about, and I show you what all those things you need to know and have. And then I go through the steps. So I hope it's detailed enough so most people can be able to do it and feel comfortable to do so. All right. And so they have other projects. They have, if you have any of the arcade one-up pinballs, they have a project for that to be able to add all of the games that are available from arcade one-up for the pinball tables. They have a fighter droid where there's issues with lag on some of the fighting games, and you can fix that there. They also have the arcade one-up Junior Paw Patrol arcade. They got a hack for that. They have one for Terminator, Outrun, for some of the the countercades. And you go to the website and they'll tell you which ones. They have a Dragon's Lair mod. They have something for the iArcade and a Fast and Furious mod. So if you have any of those cabinets, definitely check out their website and get more details. They have another one on another project that's no longer supported, so I did not include that there. What up, Art? What up, Joe? I got some football going on in the background, but the audio's down. I'm not really interested in those games, but just keep a pulse on what's happening out there. But I'm definitely fired up for tomorrow's game with the Vikings. All right, so I also have my camera set up so we can look at the actual cabinet, and I can show you some things on there as well. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so here's what we know, right? They made this soft mod available on Christmas of last year. It's a soft modification for the Arcade1Up Blitz cabinet. What it does essentially, and D-Mod can correct it. I'm just putting it in the simplest terms possible. They allow the system to look for the USB drive before it boots up the normal image, the internal image that it would do. So if there's a disk in there in the USB drive, it's going to look to that and boot to that, as opposed to booting to the internal. If you remove that USB drive, then it's going to just boot the normal way. And so once you do the process, you have to complete the Christmas treat game to be able to add the late hits. If you don't, they'll just work as normal, and you can still play all the added games that they added, whether you play that Christmas treat game or not. That's just specifically for the late hits. What up, B Kirby? What's happening? What up, Doe? And so it allows that USB drive to be read, which gives you access to RetroArch in addition to the late hits. So it's not just adding late hits to the stock game, and currently the only one that's supported is the Blitz 2000. They're working on it to get it available for the other two games, but it also allows you to add games. Okay. And so if you remove the USB drive and reboot the cabinet, it's going to return and work the way you would expect it to do without this mod. Okay. So yeah, so I think I got the questions, or just keep an eye on the chat as well. All right. So let's just talk about, just in a nutshell. Again, we have a full tutorial, but just giving you a brief overview of this thing here. So there's essentially two files that you download for this soft mod. Two downloads that you have to go to the website, read the instruction, or watch the tutorial. Either way, you have to go to the website and get these two files. The first file, they both are zip file or compressed files. That just means there might be more than one file inside of this one download that you get. Okay, and so the first one is called Blitzmas with Disk Fix. That when you unzip that, they'll create a folder called with the same name, but inside that folder there will be a file called Mystery Blitzmas. And the Mystery Blitzmas you simply run that on your computer after doing all the proper things to the cabinet and plug in the the USB cable from your computer, everything that's in the tutorial. You run that and you install it. It allows that computer to now be able to see that USB. Okay. The second file is the Blitzmas USB tests version 1.0. So obviously, depending on when you see this video, it could be 1.1, 1.5, 2.0, whatever the case is. But currently, as of today, they have version 1.0. All right. The contents of that zip file is all the things that you need to put on your disk drive in order for the cabinet to see it once you run that program. Okay. And so there's three folders in there: COT, NFL, and STL, and a payload file. Okay. So that payload is the file that gets read when that USB is booted to, and then it has certain files in the STL file that'll give you your menu structure, tell it where to go to get the games. Yeah, and so a lot of people are saying, and I've seen this a lot on a lot of the chat boards, there's no need to run to wait to do the mod. You can do the mod. It has nothing to do with the games. If you want to add games at any point in time, you can just drag those on. So there's no need to wait. They're just going to fine tune things. But once your cabinet is able to see that USB drive, you are in the perfect position to be able to add the games. Now, again, the issue with the games is they have to test them and make sure there's any changes that they have to do to those cabinets, um, those games, to make sure they work with this particular cabinet, because this cabinet only has 3 buttons, right? It has 4, controls with the joystick and 3 buttons. So every game, even though you can put games on here, there may not be the best game for this cabinet just because you only have 3 buttons, right? So you have to think about that when you want to add the games, but it'll pretty much take any games. Will NBA Jam Rewind and Final Burn run in Retro Arch? That's a question that D-Ma will be able to ask. He may not know the answer to that just yet, but I know I have a few games which already on mine, which we can pull up if you guys are interested in seeing that, and I'll go over the list of what I have. But once you do this to your machine, by default, that image that they provide when you uncompress the second file onto your USB drive, put it in your cabinet and reboot, you're going to have access to these games here. So this is the menu, the items that you're going to see on the menu when you boot up the mod. You're going to see Arcade 1-Up Blitz. That's just simply, in a nutshell, you're just exiting this payload that they loaded with these new games and going back to the stock Arcade 1-Up games. The only difference is if you beat the Blitzmas treat, then you will have late hits with the 2000 currently. Okay, so when you click on Arcade 1-Up Blitz, that just takes you to the normal games that you already had on your cabinet, with or without the late hits on 2000. Okay. Blitzmas Treat will have that. That's some wacky game that you have to just pick the series of Christmas trees, and if you pick enough of them, I think 10 rounds, right? You complete 10 rounds, then you'll be able to get the late hits added. Okay. So we'll get to what games you can add. Michigan Fishing Nation TV. So we'll get to those games because they're still working. It's still work in progress. But these are the games that are automatically there. If you just simply did the tutorial, these games here will be there automatically. NBA Jam, 2-on-2 Open Ice, NBA Jam, NBA Hang Time, NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. You'll also get another NFL Blitz 2000, which is the Dreamcast version, which has a lot more features that the Arcade 1-Up Blitz 2000 do not have. Like you can play a season of games and things like that. So it's the Dreamcast version of the NFL Blitz 2000. So you'll have that automatically. And then you have Gauntlet Legends, and then you'll have a Retro Arch. And D-Ma can explain why that Retro Arch is included on the menu. I have no idea why it's there. I guess just to quickly get to it if you need to make some changes. Okay. So those are the games that are added automatically. All right. So let me look at some of the questions here. I hear you only have to win 25, but you only I only get to 21 in a row to enable late hits. Or is it full 25? D-Ma says 25, but it's 10 rounds in the beta test version. So that may change to 25 once it comes out of beta. All right. So here's what we know. Here's what you should know. This is a beta. That means it's work in progress. Some things may not work as you would like it to, right? Because they're currently working on it. They're making adjustments. Games that you may want to have on there may not be available yet, but it's work in progress. D-Mod, he's in the chat right now. He's the lead encoder, the lead coder on this, but he's getting a lot of help. BS, Hag Nasty, and Hungry Want Biddy, just 2 people I see that's very active currently, but there's a bunch of people behind the scenes, and even all of us can participate on the Discord. But those guys have been very active within the last few days making this thing happen. and testing the games and seeing what works and finding issues. Okay, so Discord is the place you need to be. You have to get an invite, so use the link, and you'll get the DMod. If you can put the link to the invite, if that's appropriate, into the live chat, and people can sign up for the Discord, because that is the place you need to know. Now, just remember, Discord, these are people in there in the trenches working on it. They may be able to answer questions fast or slow, depending on their schedules and time and family obligations and yada, 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 all those things. So just have patience, because this is in beta and these guys are working on this thing on their own in their own time. So have patience. If there's games you want them to be able to test, you can let them know. You can go to the Discord and see different images that are available sometimes. And so that's the place you need to be. Discord is where it's happening. Nothing's going to be made available outside of Discord. So go there to get the information. So one thing I have noticed, and DMod can clarify this, the volume, whatever you have your cabinet set to, the volume set to, that volume is, you're stuck at that volume once you launch one of the add-on games. Okay. Now the normal volume control for the NBA Jam cabinet, NFL Blitz cabinet, it has a volume that goes like from 0 to, I don't know, 200 or something crazy. But when you boot into this payload, it makes that volume, I think, go from 0 to 100. So it's a little more manageable there. But you have to control the volume before you launch the games. Now, I don't know if that's going to be changed later, but you cannot change the volume once you go into, say, like the open ice game or the Dreamcast version, the Dreamcast version of Blitz, right? All those third-party, whatever games you add, you cannot change the volume currently. That may change later. So you have to set that volume before you go into the game. All right. And so just some things. So let's say you load this image and you're fine with the games that we listed here, right? You don't want any more games. You like these games. These games are great, but you want to get rid of the Blitzmas treat because you already finished it, and you don't want the retro arch to be there. You can't edit the menu.xml file. And like anything, you can copy it and then paste it and rename it as original menu file. That way you always have the way it was, just in case you mess something up. You can just rename it back to menu.xml. But this XML, this menu file, allows you to dictate what's going to be seen. And if you guys are interested, I can show you that file in the presentations here as well. But that's how you can show. You can have many games on the cabinet, but only show the ones that you want to be able to be played by just quickly modifying that menu.xml file. Okay. Yep. So David, I saw your post previously. I can definitely show you the Gauntlet. It plays very well. There are some slight stuttering in it, but nothing that will stop you from enjoying the play. So I'll show you that. All right. So you can edit that file to change and dictate what you see, what people see when they launch your cabinet, regardless of what games are there. So DMod says the retro arch config in the latest version of the mod has the FD. Okay, so currently, and you'll see this when we launch the games. Currently, when you launch the games, there you'll see the frames per second and the memory usage on in the top right corner. And that's doing it because it's beta. They're testing things. They want to be able to see how many frames per second that they have, which each game is producing, and that way they can let us know which games are going to perform well and which games you might be able to play, but it may not be the best. So right now that's on, but later versions, they'll have the retro arch config where you can turn that on or off so you don't have to see that. Okay. All right. So this is a real quick presentation here. And so here's some games that I add. And if you guys are interested in seeing any of these games, I can show you those. So I added NBA Jam Tournament on it, X-Men, Aliens versus Predators, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and Turtles in Time, Simpsons, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Ninja Baseball Batman, Saturday Night Slam Masters, Smash TV, Power Stone 2, Wild Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Sunriders, 2020 Super Baseball, and Baseball Stars. So those are the games that I added that are currently on my cabinet. Let me clarify that. I've added a lot more games onto my stick, 20 gig worth of or probably 10 gigs worth of games, but these are the games that I have made available through my menu.xml file. These are ones I want to be available to be played from my cabinet, but there's more on. If someone says, hey, there's this great game and it works great and it's already on the image, I can just simply add it to my file and I'll be able to play it. All right. All right. Okay. So now we're at the questions point, but at this point in time, I'm going to remove this and I'm going to all right, here we go. I'm a little new with this. All right, here we go. So I want to get the camera. Oh, I unplugged it. Let me plug them again. All right, here we go. All right, let me turn off this comment. All right, so here's the cabinet, and it's running just in the demo mode. If I do the volume, all right, so this is in the regular mode. Even though I have my USB drive here. So I can put this in here. So I just have my available. I have a cable. I did a video here showing how to use this cable just so that you can have access to your USB without having to take the door off every time. All right. So I have this here and it can retract all the way back into the cabinet and just stick out, be on the back. But I just have it here just so you can see it. So we'll just keep it here. So it's plugged in. So if I turn this cabinet off, powering off, if I unplug this and turn it on, it would boot normally. Okay, but since it's plugged in, we'll just take that out of the view. It's going to boot up, and you know immediately because after the normal boot screen from RK1 up, there'll be a slight pause that's not there when the disk is not there. So you'll do this, you get the ball thrown, you get the three companies that's helped make this game, and then you'll have a slight pause. And that's right here. This slight pause is not here. It would normally just boot right into NFL. So this is where it's booting it into this payload. And if this thing is, there you go. I don't know why this thing is getting a little blurry. Come on, baby. Okay, there we go. All right. So as you can see, you have this menu system, and the files that are on the disk, the USB, dictates which picture. So if you didn't like one of these screens like this, you see how the basket is kind of squished up. If you want a different image, you can just make your own or download from the web and change these images to be whatever you want them to be. Okay. Now I tried to put, well, I got this one on, that's fine. But I tried to put on Run and Gun right here and Run and Gun 2 unsuccessfully. So they're here, but they're not working right. So I got to get with those guys and figure out what I'm doing wrong. So I don't know. Again, I tried just based on what I know from previous experience, and it wasn't successful. So these two, Run and Gun and Run and Gun 2, are on my menu. The games are on there, but they don't launch. So something's wacky. All right. But all the other games, so that's why I didn't list those on my presentation. But all these games are here. All right. So the way this works is the the far left controller is what you use to navigate through this RetroArch menu. The blue button or the jump tackle button is the action button from the menu here. Or to launch the game, the white button is when you want to exit, and we'll show you that. All right. So to enter one of these games, we're going to go into Gauntlet. I will hit the blue tackle button, and this menu come up here, says loading game, please wait. And depending on the game, depending on the system, this could, take longer than one of the other ones. All right, so let me take a look at some of the comments here. Oh yeah, most definitely, and I'm glad you mentioned Speak Her, because that's a game I definitely need to add for my wife because she loves that game. So I'll have to look through my list and see if that's already there. Is the Dreamcast version of the NFL Blitz more faithful to the arcade version than the new arcade one updated? That I don't know. I've played it a couple of times, but because I didn't launch my memory, had my volume set, I couldn't hear whether they were cursing and things like that. But D-Ma might know that. Okay, so as you can see, the Sega version of the Gauntlet Legends. And again, this, I don't know why this camera is not focusing, but you can see. You know it looks clear. It's just my camera's acting wacky. All right. Okay, so I hit the start button on my player, and I can add all 4 players if I wanted to. So I hit the start button. I hit the white button to start. And I don't want to enter initials. I can pick my character. I don't know these characters. But once you start, now I'm here. So I'm just use my controller to navigate. If I want to go over here and read this, I can hit my white button and read the history here. And when I'm ready, I can exit out. Exit. All right. And you see, I got 8-way control all around, so I can go in any direction, shoot in any direction. So you can see up at the top right corner, you got the frames per second. And so in the voice there, now entering the Valley of Fire, there was a little stutter. Gotta get this arrow guy because he's gonna give me a little static. Destroy this hut so they don't keep attacking me. So the red button is white button is shoot. I don't know why it's not getting these barrels. Here, I gotta get this. I gotta get this key. Uh-oh. Shouldn't have got the key yet. Let me back up. Let me go destroy this hut so they stop coming at me. To get the arrow guy. Get out of here. Uh-oh. Get off my tail. All right. So you see it's very quick. Guys are coming across the bridge on me now. Go destroy. Excuse me. Destroy their hut. All right. So that's Gauntlet. Works fine. Get my speed. All right, there we go. I don't know why it wasn't letting me destroy these buckets previously. All right. So that's one of the games. D-Mod, what speed you recommend? Not sure. All right. So to exit the game, you have to hold down that first, the start button for the first player or the first controls on the cabinet. And you'll get this retro arch menu. Okay. And then you go down to close content, hit the white button. It'll be a slight delay there. It'll bring you to this menu. I'll go down to quit retro arch, hit the yellow button, and it'll take you back to the menu. Okay. And so now I'm back at the menu, which again, I have to use that one controller to navigate through the games. Okay. So let's take a look at X-Men. I hit the blue button to launch it. So that's just how simple it is. Once the game's there, you use that first controller to get in and out of those games. I used to love Gauntlet, the original Gauntlet. This is the first time ever seeing Legends here. But again, all four players work right out the box. Right, as soon as you do the mod, all four players work with Gauntlet Legends. All right, so you'll see that menu come up. It shows you that all four controls are added. You hit the start button on whatever controller you want to work on. Now with the Dreamcast, that may work slightly different because it's a Dreamcast game. Now here, okay, I got volume. It's not very loud, but I don't have any control over that volume. So we'll do. Now here, I'm on second player, so I'm controlling the second player. Okay. Hit the white button to get Wolverine. White button to skip all the gibbity gobbity. Got jump. Now these buttons are going to be different than what's marked here. So the turbo button is my punch button. The jump button is my extra power, and the pass button is jump. So each game might be slightly different. And because it's retro arch, if you are skilled with this program, you can go change just for this individual game to be whatever you want it to be. Okay. Now there's no bezels or anything like that on the game. So in this case here, this is not taking up the full screen. But if you don't care and you want to do that, then that's one of those things that's just an option for you to change if you don't want it to be pixel perfect. So that's totally up to you. By default, they have it where it's pixel perfect. Okay. All right. So if I want to get out of this game, or again, I'm gonna just put a hit start on another player. You see Cyclops came in. I hit start on player 1. There's the other one. Hit start on player 4. All 4 players are now here. Okay. And I can control all 4 if I can stop getting beat up long enough. Okay. So all 4 controls work right out the gate. All right. So let's talk about adding games, because that's what some people have been interested in. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the cabinet. I'm just going to hold it down, turn it off, grab my USB, and remove the drive, plug this into my computer. And so like D-Mod said, you don't have to wait to do this because certain games aren't available. You can do this. All right. So when you plug this into your computer, it's going to be a particular drive. I got to make sure I'm not moving on the screen. So here's H drive is my USB drive for that. Okay. And so if I go to my SDL file folder, again, these are the menu, and you see I have these originals. So I just kept the launch and menus saved as a separate files the way they were when I put this image on here. And then the launch and menu are my modified versions. Okay. So if I rename this to _Carl and then made this just menu and change this launch, all the games that's on this card would automatically be here. Okay, because they're already set up. So let's look at this original file for a second. We're going to open this with we're going to open this with Notepad++, just so you can see the structure of it. Okay, and let me bring that down here. Okay, and do they have a view option? Look like they do. Zoom. So Control Num plus. I don't know where's Num. I don't know why I don't know where that is. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. All right, you guys can see it. All right, so here, this is just coding. This is just coding, and you can see here to launch NBA Jam. They set up this program. So when you click that on the menu, and if we look at the menu button or the menu file, let's close. Let's open up the menu file. Again, this is probably over the head of. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong spot. Let me close this one, and let me open up this menu as well, the original one. Okay, open with ++, and you can see. So you see here they had many games on here. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, you see here they got Art of Fighting, all these things. So this menu file is telling it what to name it on the menu and where's the image. Okay, so if I want to change this NBA Jam picture because I didn't like it, I can just replace this NBA Jam PNG file in this images main folder to be whatever I wanted. So long as it's named here, or if I kept this as it was and added another file called NBA Jam better.png, I'll just come and edit this file to name what the file is that I wanted to point to. Okay, so real simple. That's what the menu file does. So you see all these games on here is on the image that I downloaded. Okay, and if I wanted to turn any of these things on, I just simply add it to my menu file. So they have these names here. Okay, but then on this launch file, this file tells it what to do when you launch those particular games. So here, if you run NBA Jam, is going to use this particular file here, this config file, and then it's going to launch. If I slide over, oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Is going to launch this NBA Jam.zip. That's the actual game file. So you can see here, this game is a in the NFL folder under RetroArch.config, and here's one that's under. If we look down here, here's one under Dreamcast. Oh, here it is here. So you see here, this in the NFL folder, there's a RetroArch and then a ROM. So all the ROMs for RetroArch are in that ROMs folder. Again, we can simply look there on the folder. If we go to the NBA, go to our NBA file, go to RetroArch, and go to ROMs, this is where all the files are. Okay, so there's 49 games on here. Okay, or 49 items in here. So these are all the files that I have on my computer. I keep pointing to the presentation. All right. So if I wanted to add one of those other games back, I would need to make sure that file is in the ROM file. And then also, if we look at for the Dreamcast files here, you see here in RetroArch ROMs, there's a DC folder that has the Dreamcast files. So if I go here under ROMs, there's a DC folder, and these are the games that they have already on the disk for there's NBA Showtime, there's Pro Pen Pinball, there's Tetris 4D. So these things are already there. So we would simply just add. Now, again, I don't know that these actually work on here or not, but they're already on this image. Okay. So I'm just giving you the pieces of the puzzle. Okay. But for example, if I go to my downloads folder, okay, my Blitzmas under downloads, I'll keep clicking on the presentation. All right, here. So I downloaded a image. Where did I put it? It's like 20 gig. Oh, here it is. So I have this Blitzmas drive here. So this is a file I downloaded, and it's 21 gig. Okay. Right now, I think the file that I've seen from the gentleman that made this available is 128 gig now. So if you want everything, you get the biggest drive. If you don't care, if you don't want all of them, you can always download. Like, so I download this and unzipped it. So I didn't, I deleted them. So I would have to run this again. So let me just, so this, when you get a file, you just extract it. Okay. It's going to extract it here into downloads in the folder called Blitz BUZ. All right. That's going to take a while to do. So I should have did this previously, and I apologize. Oh, you guys aren't seeing this. Okay. See here. So when I click on extract that, it's going to extract that into that folder, and it's going to take forever because there's a bunch of files here. Okay. But the point is, once it's done, this folder is going to fill up. You can see it's already starting, and they put this folder here, and it's going to start downloading those things here. Okay. So as it unzips, all these things are going to be available here. If you wanted something to be available on your hard drive, but not on your system, you just simply leave it on your computer. And as you learn or discover about something or curious about something, you can just simply go and move those files from here. Because if it's on this image, these guys have already tested it and proven that it works. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's going to take a long time. I apologize. Let me look. Let me see if it's in my trash can. It is. So let me stop this. All right. So will I be able to recycle it or bring it back? I don't think so. Let me just try and restore this. Nope, because that's the one that I already had. Yeah, all right. But anyway, you see here, these things are starting to fill up with all the data. So you unzip that file. And again, as they're working on it, because it's in beta, right? They're adding new games every day. You can simply go get the latest file. Let me move this out the way so I can see what you're seeing. Where am I? Okay, you can just simply get the latest file and add whatever games you want. Okay. Now I'm just a stickler for, I don't like to have games that I'm not going to play. I don't want to have 2,000 games on my cabinets because people end up just playing the scrolling game instead of playing the actual games. So I always like to limit it to what I can, I think people will want to play. Okay. And I want the list to be short so they can just grab a game and play. Okay. All right. So what up, Gamer Fridge? So I'm going to keep my stock while running on a PC on my PC on the NFL Blitz. Right. So again, that's why it's all about choices. But this is a mod that you can do and have it there and have your USB drive off and never use it for your guests. They can always just use the stock because you just have it unplugged. And then when you want to do it, you plug it in. So again, you have the options to do whatever you want to do with your machine. Okay. What up, Biggie D? Yeah, I got my VR, my Meta Quest 2 all charged up, so I'll be available tonight. What time you guys getting together to do that? Let me know. It was definitely fun, but I drained my whole battery trying to figure out why I couldn't update. Uh, and so I just uninstalled it and then reinstalled the game, and it was the latest version. I was finally in. So by that time, I had drained my battery. All right, so DMod says, keep in mind the purpose of this really isn't meant to have thousands of games. There are people in Discord doing that, but I highly recommend a curated list. Yeah, absolutely. Because again, there's going to be people that's going to don't care, that they just want to see that it works, and they'll put like the previous version had, the version I have here that I downloaded had dead or alive on it, but I only have 3 buttons, right? So there's some moves I'm not going to be able to perform. It had King of Fighters, and King of Fighters has 4 buttons, but I only have 3 buttons, right? So, but they had other games that only require 2 buttons, right? So, while it will work, you may not want it to work on your cabinet because it just frustrates you and people that come to play and realize they can't play it the right way. So, in my opinion, it's best to get games that have 2, 3, or 4 players. 2, 3, 2, 3, or 4. Obviously, you can have 1-player games, but this cabinet, because I have other. Everybody's situation is different. This may be the only cabinet that you have, and so you want to play as many games as you can. So again, in that situation, you might put shooter games on. You might put Donkey Kong, or you might put all these different things on. I have those games on different cabinets, so I have no interest in having all those games, even the fighter games, on here, because I have a Street Fighter mod that I can play all the fighter games on, right? So I have a vertical cab, a horizontal cab, and then this cab is for the games that you get to play 3 players or 4 players on. Okay, 2, 3, or 4, right? Obviously, you can play 1 player. So those are the games I'm interested in. Simpsons, and you saw my list: Simpsons, Sunset Riders, Moo, Mesa, or whatever. Those are games I'm interested in. Okay. So I hope this helps for you just understand. You don't be intimidated by it, because it's really not that complicated. The guys that's dealing with the complexities, DMod and all those guys, they're just giving you the tools to make your system see this USB, and then whatever you put on this USB, your cabinet is going to be able to see. And if it's been tested and proven, it's going to work. If you get the images from someone that's in this community, then that's tested these things, then they're going to work. Again, they may give you more than you want, but you can dictate it. If your disk is 256 gig and someone makes a big giant list, you can just download it as it is, put it on your disk, and then just go through that menu file and delete the lines that you don't want to show up. And that's the best way to do it, because then if you discover that, oh man, there's a game that somebody told me about, is most likely on that image, and you can just go and add it. And again, it's really simple to add, because as long as you don't have to change that launch file to remove it, because the menu doesn't have it for it to be launched. So you can leave the launch file as is with all the hundreds of thousands of games, whatever it is, but only dictate in your menu file what you want to actually be available to be launched. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I had no problem working with the Dreamcast, and I can load up the Dreamcast version. So my disc is not in here right now. So if I turned on the cabinet, I'm just going to show that for the people who are still a little gun shy. I'm going to unplug this from my computer, but not plug it into the drive yet. And you see it disappeared from my menu. I'll put this back onto the cabinet. I want to switch to this mode here. All right. So because this disk is not in the cabinet, this is going to boot up the way you know and expect it to. So after this menu, I guess there's still a little pause there. I thought the pause was longer, but maybe not. Okay. So here you have access to everything. Now, DMod, if you're still in the chat, I have not been able to go online with the late hits available. I can see the online, but when I launch it, it just stays at a black screen. So let me know if you know anything about that. But so here, so I can play any of these games. I won't have the late hits if I loaded up gold. I wish you could just choose defense. That way I could show you. So I'm not going to go through all that here. But so I'm going to plug this in to my drive there, and then turn this off and turn it back on. And now it's going to boot into the payload and allow the USB drive to be. I can do that L like P-Dubs does. You'd think it would have a focus button. All right. So this is in. I'll just move it out the screen. And I do, just so you guys know, I do have the backlit powered coin doors to make my coin doors look like they're real. And that's powered by the USB. So I put a USB hub. It's not a powered USB. It's just a regular USB hub into the back of the PCB, plugged my power cord to my coin door into that, and this cable that has the drive in it. And so I'm able to have my coin doors backlit and access this USB for these games. I don't know why that just did this. I have my drive in there, but it just booted up. Let's try it again. Turn it off. I didn't change anything, I thought. On my disk. Yeah, so once it's modded, you can just leave the thumb drive in all the time. It means you're going to get this payload image, and you just go to the Arcade1Up Blitz cabinet if you want the stock games, and if you want the other games, you go to those games. All right, see here. So I'm not sure why it did that. All right, so as long as this drive is plugged in, you're going to get this menu. And again, if I click the first player blue button, I will get the stock Arcade1Up 3 games by clicking this menu option. Otherwise, I can go to any of these games. So again, they do have the Dreamcast version. So let's launch that. Let me make the volume a little higher. Hopefully it's not too loud. All right. I don't want to be too crazy. I got it like 19%, 22%. All right, that's hopefully 22% is good enough. So we're going to go and find the. Did I miss it? Time. Okay, here. So this is the Dreamcast version. Hit my blue button, and if you want online play, I recommend not enabling the late hits, right? So you just unplug the drive if you want online play. Because online play, people wouldn't have late hits anyway. And if they both had late hits with this mod, there's probably going to be some issues anyway. So if you're going to play online, don't use the late hits. Unplug your drive, reboot, and play the normal way if you want to play online. Okay? That's from DMod himself. But he said he did have people join his game, but honestly, it's not recommended. The game eventually got out of sync because the added frames were being injected for those late hits. All right, so this is the Dreamcast version, and I believe we hit our start button once we're in. So again, a later version, you're going to be able to get rid of those frames per second up here in the top right. All right. All right. So hit start. I'm on player 2 here. Hit start. Now see here you have different options: arcade, tournament, season, play, editor, stats. Anything you guys wanted to see? I'll go to season. I hit the white button. See if I have anything. There's nothing. There's no thing to load. I'm gonna go to new. You have those cheat codes you can do to get big head and all that stuff. That stuff still applies on any of the versions. I'll pick the Lions, of course, Detroit. Hit the white button. I can do the play of the week. Now, I did notice with this Dreamcast, these guys cheat so much, it's not fun. So you see here, you can do these codes in the top lower left corner if you know what those are and are quick enough. You can do those cheats. Now, I think the buttons are different, but it's like every time I play this Dreamcast version, it's like I cannot even get a pass off. They just make me drop the ball or get an interception. It's ridiculous. So my buttons are a little different. I don't even know what I picked, but we'll see. Look at it. Come on. Why is these two buttons flip? Something's not working all right. Oh my God. But you see the frame rate is 32, 34 frames per second, but it looks good. It's running good. I don't see there's no stuttering. It looks just as good as the other one. So this is a Dreamcast version. I don't know why I keep talking about cash. Oh, come on. So you saw a late hit there. So late hits are in there automatically on the Dreamcast version without. But again, you got to be fast enough to do it, right? Oh, my goodness. But they're going for it. I cannot get a playoff. Look at it. Interception. Every time. So I'm not enjoying. Okay, so D-Mod said you can adjust the settings on a game by game basis. Now you're talking about the retro arch, right? And if I hold down the player 1 button, it'll bring up this menu, and this was what the D-Mod saying. You can change the settings on this thing, but you'll need a keyboard, so you have to plug that in. And that's where having a hub, I have that hub in the back of mine. I can plug in a keyboard very easily without having to change. Now I can't unplug this and plug the I can't plug it into here because then it wouldn't have access to the data, right? So I had to plug it into the hub that's inside the back of the cabinet. I can plug in the keyboard and make some changes to this. Some of these things you can change without uh, a keyboard, but most of the things you will want a mouse and keyboard. Okay, so you can just simply keep things the way someone else made it, or you can customize them to your liking. It's totally up to you how in depth you want to get to. And again, like I said, you can just simply get an image that someone has, put it on there, and leave it as is and scroll through 100 games, or you can just modify the menu thing to only show the games that you want and leave the games on there in case you want to get back to them at a later time. It's totally up to you. So I hope this helped to make you feel more comfortable about doing the modification. Again, I didn't go through the steps to do it because I already have a tutorial on that. It's very simple to do. You don't have to be afraid that you're going to hurt your machine because you're not modifying anything on the machine. Again, all this mod does is makes it available so they'll look for this USB. And if you don't have a USB in there, it's nothing to look for. So it just boots the normal way. Okay. All right, guys. I hope this answered the questions that you guys had. If there's any questions, leave them in the comments. Anyone that's seeing this video after the live performance, obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions. Hopefully, we answered most of them here. Your questions can be answered on the Discord channel for Team Encoder. Definitely go check that out. Again, if I said it in one of the presentations here, these are techies. These are, like myself, nerds, right? All of us don't know how to talk to regular human beings. We're used to doing coding and talking to machines and talking to AI and all that. They don't have feelings, okay? You have feelings. If you don't have thick skin, have your questions go through somebody like me who has thick skin, because they may say something that's just rash or to the point, and it might hurt your feelings because they didn't answer the way you want. So if you don't have thick skin, don't bother asking these guys anything. Ask it, okay? Because I mess with Mystery Encoder all the time because people always say, "Man, why you being so nasty? I just asked a question." Look, man, you're not a computer. You're not code, okay? He's not going to talk your language, all right, the way you want it to be. But you see D-Moz in here. He's not as blunt as Mystery Encoder is, okay? So don't ask Mystery Encoder anything. D-Mod is the lead on this particular project. All those other projects, it might be different leads, different people, okay? But D-Mod, you see he showed up here. I didn't invite him here. I just put this out here, and he knew it was here. He showed up, and he answered the questions that you guys had. I'm sure he'll be keeping a tabs on this video as new people come in and watch and ask your questions in the comments. He'll most likely, if you have time, add comments, or he'll point you over to the Discord if those questions are already been answered, because they have an FAQ. They're going to be growing that frequently asked questions. They're going to put things like they put the tutorial over there. So this is a work in progress project, okay? And they're going to try to, as they learn about things, make things available. As usual, there won't be any ROMs on the Discord itself. You know, people may link things, and then things may get unlinked from there, and the communications things might be put in the comments, and YouTube might take out some comments. So you just have to have some patience, ask some questions. People have messaging. There's a way to get the information out, but Discord is the place for the most current, most accurate, dealing with the people who's actually working on the project that can answer it. They just may not be able to answer it in your timing. So just come back later and see if they answered it. Ask a different way if they didn't address it. But have patience more than anything. Don't be afraid to take the chance to upgrade this, because you can't hurt anything. Worst case scenario, you just put it the way it was and leave it at that. But if you are adventurous, you want to be able to add some games, whether it's 6 games, 100 games, that's totally up to you. But they are working to make sure that any game that makes sense is on there, and some people may just make games because they just want to see if it can work on there. But you know, you'll have to curate that list and only show what games you want to be present. I appreciate you guys. I believe the Discord is on my presentation right here, right there. So there's the Discord there. I don't think I can copy it from here. But if not, if you just Google Team Encoder Discord invite, you'll see a website that comes up and provides the same link. Okay, so it's not difficult to find. You may just have to put some legwork in, but all the legwork is being done over there, guys. I appreciate you guys from coming in. I have no idea how many people are on the stream at any given time. Look like there's 31 people watching now. I appreciate you guys. I hope this helped for you to take action and take some steps towards getting your cabinet the way you want it, to have the games that you want so that you can enjoy it, because it's a fantastic cabinet. The late hits are fun to do, whether you do it or not. The people you're playing with, they may enjoy it more than you. Most people that have played the NFL Blitz is something that they're familiar with and expect to be there, so it's good that they can be there. When the late hits become available for the other two games, of course, I'll do a video and do posts on the boards to let everybody know. These guys will be communicating, but we all are in different links and clicks and groups and all that stuff. So we're going to put the information out there for whoever in many different places so that people have access, are in aware. I'll do a video on to show those late hits on those new games. And as I always do, I make videos on what I am currently doing. This is something I'm currently doing and enjoying it. Once I get a cabinet the way I want it and there's no more changes to it, my content probably will die off. But these videos will be here for people that's getting learning about it for the first time. They can do the tutorial. They can see here. They can be routed to the right people that are currently working on this and will be working on it in the future. I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. I thank you for taking time to come join me on this live. And until next time, guys, I'll see you on the web. Peace. Go Lions. And we out.
Thanks for watching Detroit Love. Please subscribe to the channel. Like and share the video. We want to see and read your comments below. And until next time, I'll see you on the web.
Oh, I guess they have a button for the outro. Can I just end without the outro? Nope. So you see the outro 2 times.
Thanks for watching Detroit Love. Please subscribe to the channel. Like and share the video. We want to see and read your comments below. And until next time, I'll see you on the web.